Coming live from Yushu, also romanized as Yutsu, the county-level city of Yushu, Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture in southern Qinghai Province, China. Comprises a surface area of 13,462 square kilometers, and in 2010, the overall population was 120,447. I am, of course, your host here today with WTL 2024 Summer Group Stage Round 4, Day 1 of the Round 4 of the Group Stage Round 4. There you go. I'm, of course, your host, Yaku of the Zaku, and with me today we have El del Bilabong, que juntos se hace fuerte. Like, underscore VIP. How we doing, like?
What's up, Yaku? It's great to be back here with another round of World Team League. As you mentioned, it's been a pretty intense week of StarCraft already, and now we're popping things off here with the return of World Team League. Of course, last week there was no WTL, there was no World Team League. We had Stars War 11 instead, a massive premiere event happening in China. And yeah, we crowned a new champion there. We had a massive showing as well. It was great to see the crowd in China, great to see the players competing in an offline setting, offline venue. But now we've returned with WTL.
Keep we doing over here in the top. So fast! In the top left, we had the blue Protoss player from Twisted Fairies and Twisted Minds come from Korea. It was classic.
And it's up right. We have Trigger for Basilisk. Here we go. Game 1 is going to be on Ghost River, as we just mentioned. Up here first, we have Basilisk versus Twisted Fairy. It's two very big teams. Two very big teams here in the league, in the tournaments. And we are kicking things off with Classic versus Trigger in the PvP.
Yeah. Two players who I think are, I would say, are some of the higher ranked players when we think of Protoss in WTL. Classic, obviously, a heavy favorite in pretty much any tournament he plays in. Trigger, on the other hand, somebody who has progressively been getting better to the point where now I think we can definitely consider him to be top, if not top 3, top 5 NA at the very least.
Oh yeah, 100%. You know, Trigger, he is one of the best in NA in North America. And how does he compete? How does he fare against one of the best players in Korea? For the time being, we're entering into Ghost River. It's going to be a 2-gate opener from Trigger, 2-gate opener from Classic. So far, we are mirroring each other with our builds of choice. And we'll see how aggressive we want to be here. Again, what I love about WTL is we don't care about vetoes, no map picks, none of that. It's all in the hands of the admins as game 1 on Ghost River of all maps. Very, very aggressive map here.
Indeed it is, but at least it's a mirror matchup here. So, you know, don't have to worry too much about any timings that'll catch your opponent off guard.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we don't have to worry about that at least. As for now, our Cybercore is about to finish up. We're going to be getting to our first units of choice. I'm curious if we open up with Adepts, with Stalkers, with Stalker Sentry, and we have our answer. We have quite a different approach here from our two players.
Yeah, Trigger opting for those Stalkers, a lot more safe, a lot more regular, whereas Classic is opting for Adepts. We don't see too much early Adept aggression nowadays in TVP, obviously because... in PvP, sorry, obviously because of that Sentry buff, but we'll see what Classic can get away with here. Obviously, Trigger opting for the Stalkers first, won't have those Sentries available, and Ghost River is a very, very short rush to this map. I was saying that Trigger's playing this out a little more safe, but that's 2 more Stalkers on the way.
Yeah, that is going to be additional Stalkers here from the side of Trigger. Adepts moving out first for Classic. Classic does follow this up with a Robo, by the way. With this, there's another gateway, 1 base all in. Classic is going for 1 base all in. Trigger has yet to confirm this. He does end up catching some of these Adepts here towards the south, so a good start for Trigger, but it looks like the Adepts, they will be able to get away. Good movement here. It looks like 1 Adept goes down.
You can really tell Trigger played a lot of PvP on this map. There's the instinct to send those Stalkers south instead of just at the ramp that leads up to your natural base. Yeah, really good foresight there from Trigger. Meanwhile, he moves out across the map. He gets eyes on the natural base, and he should recognize, I don't think if he quite saw the lack of expansion, because again, we mentioned Classic is 1 base all in. The Prism is on the way. The gateways are about to finish up, and Classic is going to be sending everything across the map. Meanwhile, back at home, Trigger, he responds with a Twilight Council. I don't think he is fully aware yet. Now he knows, though. Yeah, he scouts that there is a lack of a nexus here. Or in the natural base anyway. As a wise man once said, why would you ever expand in PvP?
Why would you? I mean, we just see Trigger responding with a robo that will help, but remember, this robo is delayed because of the Twilight Council that was being made earlier, so Trigger's response is going to be a little bit later than he would have liked. The army, meanwhile, is already here. We have 7 Stalkers in total. We can warp in 3 units at a time, and Classic, he has options. He doesn't just have to push in towards the natural, he can also dip into the main.
Indeed he can. A little bit of an elevator into that main base. Shield battery just finishes up. And we do have enough here for Classic to start two-shotting these Stalkers, despite the battery overcharge, but obviously he's going to be taking a lot of punishment while that goes on, so decides not to risk it, dips straight into the main base.
Yeah, we spoke about elevating into the main base. We have the sentry, we have the force field as well, and just like that, we do shut Trigger out of his own main, going for a big warp into said main base as well, and Trigger, he hasn't lost too much yet, but we're going for the pylons. We're depowering the gateways.
Trying to, yep, and he is able to get it. Now the rest of the Stalkers that were on the ground earlier, coming in for a bit of a sandwich. Classic, not quite able to lift everything up out of here, but is able to block Trigger into the main base, at least for a little while. Having that depowered gateway obviously is huge, but what's even bigger is the Immortal.
Exactly, as there we go. The Immortal has arrived just in time to fend this army away. Do you have the shield batteries behind this? A couple of workers did go down, but remember, Trigger, he has a base. He can afford to lose some workers. Classic, he has to get more done.
Indeed, he does. Still no Nexus on the horizon. Getting a couple of pylons just to get more supply. He knows that he really needs to start overwhelming this force, especially with the Immortal out. Second Immortal about to be out as well.
Yeah, and as that Immortal count gets higher and higher, Trigger, he's holding. Like, it will be easier and easier to defend. Once again, we're going for the force field on the ramp, and we do not quite manage to get it.
Yeah, not quite. A little bit of a premature unload here from Classic. He is drawing a lot of units away from shield battery range, which is nice. But, of course, Trigger, all he needs to do is retreat back.
Yeah, exactly. Just making sure that Classic is unable to completely unload into that main base. Once again, we are going to be dropping a couple of Stalkers here into said main, but there is no sentry, there's no force field, and Trigger, he can split up his army. He's got an Immortal on the high ground and on the low ground.
And shield battery overcharge. Did such a good job of keeping everything alive. Classic is very much on the back foot, and it looks like Trigger, he knows that he's held. Classic knows that he hasn't been able to break this, so now he's getting a Nexus of his own, but at a very delayed timing.
Yeah, exactly. Trigger, he's going to shut this down with the power of 2 Immortals. Good juggling as well. Ooh. He barely keeps that Prism alive, snipes the other. GG gets called, and Trigger takes game number 1.
Very nicely done here from Trigger, which again speaks to his knowledge and, I guess, experience of this specific map. He knew exactly how to hold against everything Classic was throwing at him.
Yeah, that's the thing here, is that Trigger, on a map like Ghost River, I'm sure he has plenty of experience with Estrella, right? And Estrella, he's also a very aggressive, very unorthodox Protoss player, so Trigger able to defend beautifully there. I was concerned it was a late response and a late scout to what was happening, but he was able to buy enough time for the Immortal count. And as you pointed out, once that Immortal count got a little bit higher and higher, the defense became that much easier for Trigger.
Yeah, that much easier. But anyway, here we're outside Delta, we're in the bottom right, blue Protoss player coming over from representing Twisted Minds, playing for the Twisted Fairies. It was Classic.
And in the top left, we have Trigger for Basilisk.
I know why I said it was Classic. He's still alive, as far as I can tell. Yeah, we might, even though the webcams are off for both players. From what I can gather, he is still alive.
Yes, there we go. And now we're going to be loading into Side Delta. Now, Side Delta has a very unique feature that we're already seeing come into play. Side Delta has a ramp leading into the natural. And what does that mean? That is the universal sign and tell that it is safe to go for a gate expand in PvP. So Classic, you can see, is going for his pylon and his gateway on the low ground at his natural because it is safe to do so. But Trigger decides not to. Trigger says, no, I'm going to be throwing down my gateway on the high ground instead. And I'm curious if now the turns will table and Trigger is the one to go for one base all in instead.
Well, we'll keep our eyes peeled on that production tab, as so far Trigger is the player with more gateways. He is getting more buildings a lot quicker. and Classic, which is definitely an advantage of building in your main base as opposed to your natural.
Exactly. So Trigger, he opens up 2 gates, Classic only with 1, and Classic should be spending those resources to get into a faster Stargate, into a faster Nexus on the low ground. Now, Trigger does hide a pylon, but based on the pylon positioning, that is not for a proxy robo. It looks like a fake proxy pylon, so the likelihood of Trigger going for one base all in is a little bit lower now.
Well, we'll see. He's keeping that probe there.
Hmm.
In position, so it could still be a proxy Stargate if he was so inclined. Classic actually a lot quicker when it comes to teching up here.
Yeah, exactly. We do have that Stargate thrown down, as should be done with this build from Classic, followed by the eventual Nexus. From the side of Trigger, we're still keeping an eye on him. He is making 2 Stalkers at a time for now.
And that is an interesting building to throw in your proxy location.
Hey.
Twilight Council now on the way. I'm smelling a Dark Shrine.
I was gonna say, do you feel like the Invisible Man, Papi? I mean, there could be a couple of different things. We could throw down a second and a third gateway and go for a 1-base 4-gate Blink all-in. It could just be a Blink all-in, or as you mentioned, it could be Dark Templar. Now, the downside is that with this Stargate, we should be going Oracle first, and the Oracle will have access to detection. We'll have a way to deal with the Invisible Man. He's going Void Ray first.
Did he just cancel? Yeah, he just canceled his Oracle. And that is a Void Ray first coming out. It should still be Oracles after this, I'm hoping here, for Classic's sake. But if you just commit to the Void Rays, which in fairness is pretty rare in PvP, that's going to be trouble.
Oh, and oh my god, we do actually scout, by the way. It looks like Classic does get eyes on the Twilight Council. We are amassing an army here with Void Rays, with shield batteries. It looks like it is going to be a 1-base gateway Blink Stalker all-in. I believe we have 3 gates for the time being for Trigger. We don't have a 4th gateway yet, but I believe the 4th gateway is going to be proxy to reinforce across the map.
Yeah, that's definitely likely as. There we go. Probe does throw it down. I'm just impressed at Classic with this one zealot he made earlier has just been able to scout everything around the map.
Yeah, I mean, he saw, right? He saw the Twilight Council, he saw it researching more importantly, so now he feels safe that it is not going to be DTs. So now it's all about Void Rays. It's all about producing as many Void Rays as we can. It's all about massing up our defensive army. It's going to be Void Ray Stalker until we get a Robo, then we can get into Immortal production. But it looks like we have a little bit of latency here. Are you also...
I'm glad it's not just me. I was worried for a second.
Yeah, now is not the time, SC boy. Come back to us.
No. Try to get that resolved here.
Yeah, I'm just quickly checking the Discord. Everyone is announcing that the clean feed is dead at the moment. So for those that are curious, we do cast from a clean feed. When I say we, everyone does, like ourselves, Wardy, Rotterdam, and all the other language casters as well. And the clean feed is actually given to us via a VPN, because from China to stream to YouTube, you have to go through a VPN, you know, to get there. Same with any other platform. So sometimes it's not the most stable of ways to do it.
Yeah, unfortunately not. So we do have to try to figure out what's going on there, especially with the VPN going.
Yeah, for sure, sure.
Yeah, for those wondering why it is that we cast on a clean feed, well, there's multiple reasons, but one of the big ones definitely is, as you can see, this matchup in particular, I'm pretty sure it's being streamed via replays. You know, Classic and Trigger played out their matches sometime earlier this week, and just submitted the replay for us to cast right now.
Yes, exactly. And not just that, but also just to make sure that the series runs smoothly, because there are a lot of people that want to cast. There's going to be a lot of observers as well. So to try to...
You don't want to have an Emil. And the more observers you get into a lobby, the higher chances of getting an Emil.
For sure. So yeah, it is unfortunate that it looks like the clean feed is down. Now, I'm sure it's going to be coming back up. The problem is that we may not see the finality of that game. That's my biggest concern. I want to see whether or not the 1-base all-in works, and whether Trigger, like, I mean, if Trigger 2-0 is Classic, that's going to be huge.
Absolutely. It's going to be absolutely huge. I don't think anybody in our Discord prediction game predicted a Trigger 2-0.
Yeah.
I know a few people predicted Classic Trigger 1-1.
Mhm.
Some people predicted Classic 2-0 Trigger, but
Mhm.
if Trigger does the impossible, that's going to be a 100% upset.
Oh yeah. That's gonna be a big win for Trigger, and it's happening behind closed doors at the moment, unfortunately, and we'll try to get the
We'll
clean feedback up and running as soon as we can.
we'll piece things together from context clues.
Yeah. We will, as it looks like the
Oh,
feed is back.
are we back?
Yeah. Go to the Twitch link.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna refresh. Oh, it's on Twitch.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
the Twitch link is back. Okay. Whew. Okay.
Uh,
Uh,
yeah.
I just got worried for a second. We're back? Question mark? I
We
think we're back.
We are back. Whew. And looks like a lot has occurred here. So we have a proxy gateway outside of the natural, as we expected. We have a lot of stalkers. Blink is not done, by the way. It looks like it didn't finish. It's actually got depowered.
Yeah, just one zealot going ham on every single pylon. It looks like Blink will finally finish up, but man, that one zealot is the absolute MVP of this game so far for Classic. Scouting, delaying an upgrade, buying Classic more time to get more shield batteries and more Void Rays as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely brilliant. And now we have an Immortal out for him as well.
Yeah, the Robo finish. We have 2 Immortals, by the way. Now, we're not breaking this position. No, with 2 Immortals. GG gets called Classic hold. And Classic ties us up 1-1.
Very nicely done here. I love these PvPs that we get in WTL where we have complete turning of the tables coming down. In game number 1, one of our players is hyper aggressive, the other one's defensive, and then in game number 2, same thing, but completely different players.
Exactly. And to quickly go over what just happened, as you mentioned with context clues, when the stream went down, the zealot was actually going on the right hand side of the map and was going up. So it looks like that same zealot did get a kill on the pylon. It depowered the Twilight Council, it delayed Blink, and it bought Classic enough time to get his Robo and even Immortals up and running. And once you get up to like 1, 2, 3 Immortals, like it is so difficult to break on-site Delta. Clearly, Trigger just was unable to hit his timing that he was hoping for, and Classic holds.
Yeah, he holds, and with that, we're tied up 1-1 here. Joseph Fairies and Basilisk. We'll see if that changes as we get into game number 2. In a little bit of a PVZ. Stats versus Reynor. Coming up next.
Yeah, here we go. We weren't able to go over it before, but our lineups here is going to be Stats versus Reynor and Keen versus ShoWTimE. Right now, we're tied up 1-1. What I'm concerned about, though, is that Classic is the ace player of his team, of Twisted Fairy, and I feel like Classic needed the 2-0. He needed the 2-0 here. Without it, it's going to be difficult for the rest of his team here, I feel, to keep up with the likes of Reynor and ShoWTimE. Like, that's a pretty hefty lineup from Basilisk.
It very much is. Trigger, Reynor, and ShoWTimE. Very top tier players. Obviously, all of them are at the absolute top of their races, of their regions, yeah, even extending to the world as well. That is a very scary lineup compared to having Classic, who has been, very consistent in these past couple of years, has consistently been one of the top Protoss players, but I don't want to be mean when it comes to the rest of our players in the lineup here, but Stats and Keen, I mean, the elephant in the room there is that neither of them are really in top form. Both of them only very recently coming back from the military. Stats, I would say, has been climbing quite a lot and has been showing some very, very impressive results in GSL as well as a lot of our other online cups, but can he still take it to the likes of Reynor?
Yeah, that's the thing where
I want to believe.
Yeah, I do think that Stats definitely has a chance. He has a chance here to tie things up and to bring Reynor down. I do agree with that, but I do think that Reynor is favored here. So it's going to have to be an uphill battle, and Stats has to bring his A game to bring a player like Reynor down. I would also have to agree with your statement about Keen. Like Keen, he only recently came back from a break. After retiring, essentially, after last year, and Keen also just recently kind of getting his footing once again and going up against ShoWTimE. That's not going to be an easy series for him.
Not at all. I want to believe in these two players. I think in Stats versus Reynor, there is a chance for Stats, as we all have kind of learned over the past couple of months, is that Reynor's kryptonite is definitely this preparation format. Our players have had a couple of days to prepare and formulate a plan for their specific opponents. Is that enough time for Stats to come up with a way to defeat Reynor? Maybe, it's possible, but yeah, if you threw the two of them together in a best of two right now, I would definitely favor Reynor over Stats. Keen, I predicted a 1-1 with Keen versus ShoWTimE.
You did.
But that's more of a what I want to happen, as opposed to a what I think will happen.
Fair enough, fair enough. I mean, what I want is I would love to see this go all the way to the ace match and go all the way to that kind of final series, but again, a lot of this is going to have to come down to the rest of Twisted Fairy Classic. You know, I remember her, yeah. Fair.
She was here already, a little bit of a contrast here coming down. Stats.
Beautiful.
He's let the darkness take him.
Also, I was thinking of Kids Next Door. That's it. Not
Kids
Recess.
Next Door.
Yes, that's what that's
basically the same.
And the other one was oh my god, Johnny Bravo. That's it, Johnny Bravo. Yeah.
Oh. And right here in the top left, it's Stats. He's blue and he's representing two Safaris. It's Amphion. The map.
And in the bottom left, we have Reynor for Basilisk.
Here we go. That's what we do see. That nice to see our players playing this live and right here, right now. It does also indicate that both of them have had the maximum amount of time available to them to really formulate a plan. They didn't play it earlier on in the week and submitted any replays or anything like that. So, yeah, they've. I'm eager to see what they have in store for us. Stats, I think he has kind of proven in the past couple of rounds of GSL specifically that if he's given even just a week or two to come up with some kind of preparation against his opponent, he can absolutely surprise us and pull off the upset.
Oh yeah, I feel like really my eyes are on definitely going to be on Stats coming into the series to see if he can bring down a player of the caliber of Reynor. As you mentioned in GSL, he's doing very well for himself, but what about outside of GSL, as you do have significantly less time to prepare for your WTL match? Still time, don't get me wrong, but not as much as GSL.
There's like a weird... I feel like each player has a different point in which they hit diminishing returns when it comes to preparation. Or, I mean, some players need more than 2 days, but once they get into 5 days, then they over-prepare in a little bit. You know, their opponent, who also has had the same amount of time to prepare, notices that, wait a minute, I tend to do this a lot. Let me change things up a little bit.
Yeah, so we'll see how that affects both of our players coming into this as well. As for now, it's going to be a Hatch Gas Pool standard opener out of Reynor. Meanwhile, Stats are going for a Gate Expand into Cybercore. Nothing crazy yet. Important to take note that we are loading into Amphion, and this is a map where you can take a much more secure third base, so it can be quite difficult as a Zerg player to punish. So Stats could try to be a little bit greedier here if he so chooses. Like, we have options with where we want to expand and how we want to play this out.
Indeed, we do. I'm keeping my eyes glued on that probe right by the natural base.
We have our tech of choice, going to be a Stargate opener from Stats, so this should be Oracle base to get into our 3-base setup. You spoke about the probe, and the probe, we are delaying the third base for as long as we can. We do try to delay a little bit longer here, but it looks like Reynor will eventually take the Nexus, or take the hatchery.
Just like so. As this probe will just continue to get chased down. Like you mentioned, Stargate back home is going to be preparing most likely Oracles. I don't think Stats is feeling too worried about aggression coming out from Reynor, at least not on Amphion. So I don't think we're going to be seeing the Void Ray too quickly.
Yeah, if we see the Void Ray, I imagine it's going to be for hiding some kind of tech. But there it is. Oracle is on the way from Stats, so this should be to harass across the map. Should be for a standard opener from our Protoss player. Meanwhile, the Adept does shade onto the high ground here, and this is a very abusable position.
Man, I hadn't considered this. In a PvZ, delay the natural base of your Zerg opponent just so you can abuse the high ground. That's a pretty good move, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was a nice move there. We were able to damage at least some of those drones. Ling's going to be going down as well, but at least Reynor keeps his workers alive as we shut down both the Adepts and Reynor holds.
Just like so. Oracle coming down. Making its way across the map, looking to hit some of those softened up drones, I imagine.
It goes to the main base. There is no Spore, by the way, so we get 2 drones. We force out a Spore in between the bases as well. At the same time, Ling's coming for a counterattack, but Stats has a full wall off at that natural. He is looking secure, and he does escape with the Oracle.
I was getting PTSD too. Like, I think I wiped the memory from my brain. The PvZ that happened this week in particular on Amphion, where the wall just barely wasn't a wall. And it led to an instant GG.
Yeah, that does happen from time to time, unfortunately. But we overextend, and Oracle goes down to the main base. Good pick off there by Reynor. Stats, again, just misjudging the situation a little bit. Now he's down to 2 Oracles instead. It's actually a pretty big deal. That is going to make it a little bit more difficult to scout, and we're going to have that much less map presence for Stats.
Yeah, Stats is going to be stuck at home for quite some time here.
Yeah,
as you said, not going to be able to put any delays on a Reynor's economy or anything like that. He just has to try to out macro him from here.
Yeah, ZDeps, they move out, but they get met by Lings in the middle of the map. They aren't quite able to shade in. We still have 2 Oracles at least, and 2 Oracles do one-shot drones, so we'll see if Stats can maybe get some more damage done as all the Adepts are surrounded. Up!
And they will go down. One of them will go down. The other one will shade somewhere into the middle of the map. As the double Oracles do come back into position, still no Spore, but plenty of Queens, which are kind of like moving Spores if you think about it.
Spores can also move, but yeah, I get you.
But no, but Queens, they're like they also shoot up.
Yeah. They shoot down. Yeah. They shoot down too.
Yeah. Exactly.
There you go. They're like spores that shoot down.
Exactly. Shoot underground. Okay. Borrowed units.
As the Oracles, they get an extra couple of drones here. 12 in total. Very nicely done. Despite losing the initial Oracle, we have made up for it here. At least Stats has been able to with this additional worker damage. With that, Stats, he's establishing his 3rd base. We spoke about it, but the 3rd is quite fortifiable here. Even at the linear location, it can be difficult to really punish. And Reynor's been droning. He's even double expanding. Again, we're just working towards the mid game instead.
Yeah, very greedy, but Stats is about to finish up +1. Blink is about to finish for him as well, so it looks like he does want to hit a timing. Which can definitely be very scary here if you're Reynor.
Ooh, yes, with setting up a proxy pylon, I believe we're going up to 7 gates back at home. Stats is the beginning of a 3-base all-in. Nobody gets surrounded.
Yeah, without Blink, Stats overextends just a little bit too soon. A lot of these Stalkers are going down, forced to recall, and he will be losing quite a number of his Stalkers. The pylon as well will get taken out. This was a little miscalculated, to say the least, here from Stats.
Yeah, Stats, he was premature, came in too soon. Just like that, his proxy location got shut down. He's still very committed. Behind this, you can see him start up charge and +1 armor. He still hasn't taken gases at his 3rd base, so Stats, he's still trying to double down. But as you mentioned, because of this initial fumble, Reynor, he's looking a lot more comfortable here in his defense.
Indeed, he is. Indeed, he will be. As the Roachhorn did finish up, +2 melee is now on the way.
Yeah, +2 melee is on the way. We have some Dropper Lords as well. So Reynor, it looks like he wants to turn his defense into an offense here. Reynor also hasn't been droning too much. He's sticking to a 3-base saturation. But no, it looks like the clean feed has gone down for a 2nd time. No.
It has.
Oh.
It has, and YouTube has sped up.
Oh my god.
What?
It's sped up a lot. We just missed it. We just sped up like 5 minutes. What the hell just happened?
Well, it looks like Reynor won that game.
Yeah, I mean,
So
things are looking a little bit dire for Stats after the initial failed all-in, and it looks like Reynor was able to shut Stats down. Looks like Reynor takes a 1-0 lead, and we're already 2 minutes into game 2.
huh. Okay, so context clues.
Uh-huh.
Reynor is still smoging, so the end of that game, game number 1,
Uh-huh.
probably involved DTs,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Stats is fidgety a little bit, so that probably meant that
Uh-huh.
Dropper Lords
Uh-huh.
were in his main.
Yeah, so I imagine from where we left off, the game probably ended very soon thereafter. Basically, you know, Reynor was nibbling on control, he cut workers, and he would have just moved from there just because Stats had kind of fumbled the ball initially. But now we're getting into game number 2, and things have been settling down. Stats just getting into his gate expand, into his Stargate once again, should be into Oracles. Interestingly enough, we're kind of going to be entering a similar game state where Stats is going to be harassing with his Oracles, of course, and it's going to be on Reynor to minimize his losses and to minimize that damage.
Yeah. Gonna be on Stats as well to minimize any Oracle losses this time.
Mhm.
As Stats, yeah, in game number 1, it did look like he was, I don't know, a little bit fidgety, I guess is the word I would use to describe him. Like, he overextended quite a couple of times, which we don't normally expect from a player of Stats' caliber. I felt like he wanted to hit a timing before he was ready, and
Yeah.
it also looked like he felt that he needed to, which he didn't.
Yeah, for sure, especially because he recovered, right? Like initially, as you're mentioning, right, he lost his first Oracle, which was brutal, and then he made up for it by killing all these drones. And it's like things that they're okay, like we can calm things down a little bit. We don't have to be as aggressive as Stats was, and in the end, that was kind of his downfall. But we'll see if he can recover here in game 2. Oracle dips into the main base. Oh, quick Spore trick out of Reynor, though, not losing a single drone so far.
Yeah, looks like Reynor is warmed up now after game number 1.
He
A
is
lot smoother and a lot quicker on the micro.
is warmed up now. We do see that Stats, of course, committing into a second and now a third Oracle on the horizon. So, of course, he still has a lot of firepower to work with, and he at least still keeps the first Oracle alive. There's still a lot of potential for damage. As Stats is being active with his first two Oracles, we see Adepts also moving out of the ground.
Yeah, looking to hit that multi-prong that we are used to from Protoss players. I say that, but these Oracles are actually just patrolling.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the Adepts to come in as well. Adepts, they threaten to shade towards the third base. We do not commit yet. You can see the Oracle is just protecting them as well from the sky. Looks like we're waiting for the third Oracle to join up with the initial two. Queens are being dragged a bit out of position, so we'll see if Stats can make use of that.
Here we shall. Oh, this Oracle is solo once again! As a couple of Adepts do get surrounded by Queens! Or by Zerglings to Queens. I meant to say are catching some of these Oracles in the retreat. But Stats will keep all of them alive.
Yeah, very good positioning here by Reynor to be able to keep up with the Oracles, to be able to keep up with the Adepts as well. Stats is going to be forced back. Meanwhile, we do see that Reynor is now establishing a fourth base. His economy has been left untouched this game, by the way. I don't think he's lost a single drone so far.
He hasn't. At all. He almost lost one, but then he was very quick to Spore trick it and prevent it from going down. Stats has not been able to pay for his Oracles just yet. In fact, hasn't come close to paying for his Oracles.
Yeah, at least they're still alive. Behind the Stats, he's going for Blink, going for +1. Now, this is a stark contrast to game number 1, where this time Stats, he's taking his gases at his third. If you remember, last game, he skipped his gases and he was going for a 3-base all-in. This time, with extra gases, with extra workers, we should be working towards the mid-game from the side of the Protoss.
Yeah, here's hoping as Reynor is looking to skip that stage entirely with that Infestation Pit on the way.
Yeah, really good read here by Reynor. Recognizing that his opponent isn't going to be aggressive. Again, we can see the Stats is building up towards a Robo, towards the Templar Archives. That's going to be for Storm. That's going to be for Archons. That means that Reynor has time to rush into Hydra, Lurker, Viper.
Whew. I shudder a little bit when I hear that. The end game composition here from Zerg can be absolutely terrifying when you're not prepared to deal with it as a Protoss player. You know, when you don't have your 4 Nexuses up and mining, when you don't have your fleet beacon out yet, when you don't even have Archons to work with yet. It's terrifying.
Yeah, and there it is. There's that Lurker Den on the way. There's the Hive on the way for Reynor. You can see that Stats, he's taking a 4th base. Reynor confirms, so he knows that, again, Stats is building up at home. He knows that Stats is not pushing, which means Reynor is safe and sound to be greedy. Reynor, he's already on 88 drones. He's hit critical mass of workers. Now, in only a matter of time, Reynor will get that ideal army.
Critical mass of workers is like a term we don't hear too often, but it's a term that should be used more often. Because really, once you hit that point, you're not going to make any more unless your name is TY.
True. Not wrong.
And it's unstoppable. Your economy becomes unstoppable.
Yeah, and there it is. We do have our Hive upgrades on the way for the Lurker tech. Meanwhile, we see Stats working on Storm. But again, it feels like Stats is kind of one step behind. Sure, Stats is working on Storm and Archons and Immortals, but Reynor will have that ideal anti-ground toss army. We'll see if it's going to be enough though, because Stats is now moving out. Storm is about to finish up in 10 seconds.
Yeah, but the flank coming out here from Reynor, setting all of this up, covering this Protoss army from every single angle. Storms were pretty good, Stasis Wards were pretty good, but there's just no escape here. No practical escape anyway. Reynor running down this army. He doesn't even need the Lurkers to overwhelm Stats.
Yeah, we didn't even need the Lunkers, but we get a big surround, a massive engagement there for Reynor. He shuts down every single High Templar. They were either killed or forced to be morphed into Archons, and even then, the Archons went down as well. And now what does this mean? This means that Stats does not have Storms ready. We now have a Fleet Beacon on the way, but this feels late. This feels a little bit delayed because Reynor, he's coming in sooner rather than later.
He's coming in with twice the army supply. Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, Reynor, he is maxed out. You can see Stats throwing down the field of Stasis Traps in a move of desperation. I mean, Stasis Traps can definitely defend, but Lings, they come in for another surround. Big Stasis, though.
Yeah, huge Stasis. Catches just about every single Ling here, but is it going to be enough?
It looks like it is not going to be enough as we catch all the Immortals. There's barely an army left standing. We do have some High Temple in the back line. We have some Storms available, a handful of them, but what else do we have other than Storm?
Yeah, the Lings are starting to evaporate, but so is the Protoss army. And while the Lings are down, the Lurkers still stand. GG is called Reynor. Gonna take that series 2-0.
Yeah, there it is. GG. Reynor will take it. Again, he came in as the favored player. He came in as a heavy hitter and will be able to take that 2-0 lead for himself and for his team. Whew. Will take it in the end. GG.
Whew. Yeah, we'll take it in the end. GG. Nicely done here from Reynor. Does mean that we have one final match available for us. And if ShoWTimE wins even just one game here, but again, ShoWTimE in these past couple of weeks has looked very, very in form. He's absolutely getting ready. He's gearing up for ESL Spring. That's going to be happening just next week. So I definitely worry here for Keen, as he's up against a ShoWTimE who has been grinding.
Yeah, like, as you mentioned about Keen and his practice and his preparation, there's Stars War 11, right? ShoWTimE, he did compete last weekend against Gumiho in Stars War 11, so there's a lot of content there that you can go through. That series went all the way to the Ace match. The problem that I would say is that ShoWTimE series versus Gumiho was very unique. It was a very unique series because Gumiho was playing mech. He was playing mech against ShoWTimE, which was wild, by the way. So I don't really know if Keen can really learn much from that unless he embraces it himself.
Yeah, potentially. Keen's not really a mech boy, unfortunately. He's more of a, I'll out-macro all of my Terran opponents until we rematch and they proxy Reaper me.
Smooch.
I'll never forget that. I'll absolutely never forget that GSL, where Keen was actually doing so well. He beat Maru in straight up games, but then the rematch got proxy Reaper, got 0-2'd by proxy Reapers.
That wasn't even that long
Maru
ago.
went on to win that GSL.
That wasn't even that long ago. I mean, I say that. That was like, what, like 2020 maybe? Like, that was... in relatively recent years. Yeah, feels bad, man. Regardless, here we go. We have our players setting up. It looks like game 1 is going to be on site Delta.
It is. You gotta love this from Keen, playing from his kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Got the support of the fridge and the washing machine.
And the microwave.
And the microwave on top of the fridge? Ooh, risky. That's... Keen likes living on the edge.
Look, it's all about
Dangerous.
just being as efficient as possible with our space here, okay? It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we have a stove on top of the washing machine.
Is that... That is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that built into the washing machine?
I want to believe that we can have
is that like a portable stove that he just put on the washing machine?
Yeah,
or are there actually washing machines that are also stoves?
No, I think it's a portable stove on top of the washing machine. I want to see Keen like making some ramen or like making some stir fry while the washing machine is shaking and like washing his clothes. Like that sounds amazing.
Got a frying pan on there. Yeah. Anyway, Keen, top left, he's blue and he's representing Joseph area. We're outside Delta.
And in the bottom right hand corner, we have ShoWTimE for Big Basilisk.
That is okay. I will have to admit that sometimes, in the interest of space, because my washing machine is in my kitchen, if I want to put like if there's a bowl that I'm gonna use or a pan that I'm gonna use, but I don't need it yet, I will sometimes just put it on my washing machine. So I can have it available later. I never thought of putting a stove on my washing machine, but my washing machine is also top.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, mate, look, especially your washing machine can go crazy sometimes. Okay, definitely, and I want to believe that that it can work. Where if you're like making a stir fry, you put it on the washing machine. Yeah, if you have a wok, it can stir the stir fry for you. It's just efficient.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
You don't even gotta look.
You can
put the noodles on the stove.
Yeah.
And then you can go play out a match.
The washing machine will do the rest. It'll help you cook.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Why haven't... Okay, we gotta patent this. Stove washing machine. At the back, you put the gas in. Or no, you have two pipes. So one... You have like two tubes. One of them hooks up to your plumbing. For... So you can do the washing stuff, and then the other one hooks up to the gas pipe.
There you go.
There we go.
Look, I'm just saying, there's some untapped potential there, okay, with the stovetop washing machine. Just saying. There you go.
We'll make millions in insurance claims.
Oh my god. Like, maybe the heat from the stove can help, like, warm up the water in the washing machine, so you save on, like, on hot water.
So it's like, yeah. And hot water, that's also disinfectant.
Sure. What?
So you use less bleach and less soap.
God.
Or boiling water.
Look, I'm just saying, Keeney's onto something. He's onto something.
And he's onto something. You have those machines that are both washers and dryers.
Yeah.
The heat from the stove.
True.
Can help the drying.
I'm sure.
Or vice versa.
I'm sure you can connect those in some way. I'm sure.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. I was not allowed to take physics in secondary school.
Who doesn't want like soy sauce scented clothes?
Exactly.
Right?
Then you don't have to worry about getting like fabric softener.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Like, not Windex. Febreze or stuff. Because then your clothes already smell like food. Then you don't have to be so careful when you go out to eat.
Yeah, there you go.
When you barbecue.
It just makes sense.
Or regular barbecue.
It is regular barbecue in Korea, yes. They call it Korean barbecue. You're not wrong. You get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're settling into our game here. When you see ShoWTimE opening up Stargate, it's going to be a Stargate opener from our Protoss player into Phoenixes. Meanwhile, Keen Going into very early tank production, by the way. Very early tanks from our Terran player. It was, I believe, a double gas opener. And with these early tanks, this can lead into an early push from the side of the Terran.
Yeah, I believe Keen might have scouted one of the Phoenixes earlier on with his Reaper Hellion combination, so he is being a little bit more conservative with this mine drop, just a single one. He knows that ShoWTimE is opting for a very safe opening with these Phoenixes. I have to question the wisdom of going for a tank push when you scout all of these Phoenixes. You know, it looks like... It almost feels like you're asking for your tanks to be lifted, but we'll see if it works. You know, there's a math involved where if you have enough Marines, you can just target down the Phoenixes, and then your tanks can shell away.
100%, and I believe we should be going for a 2-base hold'em with this. I'm pretty sure we're going to be pulling the boys. I mean, we'll see if we do pull the boys. That's the second tank on the way. We do have another Rax behind this as well. We have Vikings to help support, so it's not just going to be vanilla Marines on the ground, but we're going to have Vikings as well to help protect those tanks when we do move out. And ShoWTimE is yet to really get into his own Colossus production. He will have a safety immortal, though. That's going to be huge here for ShoWTimE.
That's definitely going to be huge. It's also going to be huge that ShoWTimE delays so much production here from Keen.
Yeah, 4 SCVs go down. We deny some mining time. Keen does not pull the boys, by the way. He is pushing across the map with a very committed army, but the workers have stayed back at home.
Yeah, a little bit indecisive here from Keen, which is definitely not ideal. Pulling the Marines back, and then pulling them forward, and then pulling them back again. I like this with the Liberator.
Yeah, Liberator has arrived. Viking went down, unfortunately, but Liberator is going to be able to force the army back. Tanks, they can get within range of the natural base, but the Phoenixes, they come in, they go for the Lib!
Yeah, and without the Liberator here to either distract the Phoenixes or zone away the ground army, this force is going to fall on its face. Viking comes in just to die.
Yeah, we clean up all the tanks. We get shut down. The Marine as well, and it looks like ShoWTimE is snowballing out of control. That was everything falling here. And Keen does have some units left at home to defend, but only a handful here as he lost all of his tanks.
Yeah, and having a single tank against Phoenixes like this is... You basically have 0 tanks, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough hold here for Keen. We'll see if he can somehow muster up a defense. We have a bunker on the way. We have Marines amassing as well. We're moving in with 2 Immortals. The bunker is still not quite done, and we're looking to go for the shade. The boys are being pulled.
Oh, and the tank somehow survives. Bunker finishes up. Keen, gonna deflect this for now.
Yeah, the bunker does finish. We have a tank on the high ground as well. So we have 2 tanks, big volleys going off on these Immortals, and Keen does hold. It did cost him 9 SCVs, but he does barely hold on. I believe ShoWTimE did keep both of his Immortals alive, though.
He did. That is correct. So there's definitely going to be more... Once again, going to be the Siege Breaker unit here for ShoWTimE. Colossus out now as well to help against the Marines that aren't in the bunker. There's no repair on this bunker either. Keen, because he lost all of these workers, has to be a bit more efficient with his resources, and that means not repairing this bunker, but it also means that he's more vulnerable for during round 2.
Yeah, he is going to be that much more vulnerable here. The Phoenixes, they do dip in to try to get a scout on what kind of setup we have. Again, we still have those 2 tanks. We have Stim on the way. We have combat shields on the way as well. They're about to finish up. But behind this, ShoWTimE has map control. He is containing Keen to 2 bases, and ShoWTimE is freely mining from his 3rd.
Like so. Keen still desperately behind. Needs some way of breaking out of this so he can land at 3rd, drop his mules, and just get to mining and get to catching back up to ShoWTimE's economy. ShoWTimE even setting up a 4th, because why the hell not?
Yeah.
That's how safe he is.
It's one of those things where Keen has to make a choice. Do we go for a secondary all-in, or do we try to expand? And I believe there is a 3rd base, a 3rd CC in the main, so Keen may have already made his choice there, where he wants to try to go for a longer game, but it is not going to be easy.
Not at all. 3rd orbital going to be lifting up and trying to land, but obviously he lifts in vision of these Phoenixes, so ShoWTimE knows exactly that's where he wants to hit before Keen can really get fortified in position. Now, I kind of like this move from Keen. It's a big risk moving out with 2 medevacs when there are Phoenixes out and when there's a base when there's a force right outside your doorstep, but He's able to land this. It'll pay off big time. Does get caught though.
Oh yeah, the double drop coming in from the right hand side, but Phoenix, they do catch and they do force the unload as well. At the same time, ShoWTimE is still outside of the natural, still containing Keen. Keen is trying to get his third base up and running, is trying to even break out with that double drop, but ShoWTimE is all over all of this.
Like so, more SCVs are going to be going down. Huge force fields blocking off so much of the Terran army.
Yeah, exactly. The force fields, they do slice up the army. SCVs do fall. So far, only 5 of them, but we do zone away. And again, all we have to do is just contain and deny the third.
Yeah, that's all that really needs to be done. Keen is starving. And the stove washing machine isn't going to help him here.
We need to turn that machine on. We need to get cooking, Bobby. That's what we need to do. The problem here is that ShoWTimE has a massive supply lead, reinforcing on the front lines. He's up to 3 Colossus. He is ready to commit. He is ready to collapse on this third. And Keen, he needs a miracle to hold on here.
He does a miracle or just some really good angles, which so far he hasn't really been getting. Vikings gonna get shut down by the Phoenixes and the Archons. GG is called. ShoWTimE takes game number 1. And victory for Big Basilisk.
Yeah, GG, well played. ShoWTimE will take it in the end here. He only needed 1 game, 1 win to close things out.
I realize that probably means that they have a full-on spreadsheet to calculate the scores. And
oh yeah.
I get a headache thinking about that. I want to just curl up and cry at what I cannot comprehend.
It's all good. They do it so you don't have to. It's all good. It's all good. It looks like we have our map of choice here. Keen, it is loser's pick, is going for Post Youth as game number 2.
Interesting pick here. I like it a lot. I like it a lot here for Keen. It's a very quirky map. It does tell us that Keen has something a little bit unorthodox in store here. Post Youth is a map that I want to like a lot more than I actually do. I love watching pros on Post Youth. I hate playing on it because I just having 2 bases right next to each other just completely messes up my tempo. Like especially in TVZ where it's like, okay, at a natural base, I build a wall. My third base is part of the wall, but I'm Post Youth, you know. I don't need that wall. What do I do? Anyway, I'll figure out what to do here from Keen, who's spawning in the top right. He's blue, Dabadi, and he's representing Twisted Fairies.
And in the bottom left, we have ShoWTimE for Big Basilisk. Here we go. And yeah, I mean, Post Youth is going to be an interesting one, as you mentioned, just because of the unique features of the map itself. It does have a in-base hybrid base, not even just an in-base pocket, but we do have gold minerals in there as well, so it is definitely something that you can take advantage of. This is the case for both players. Based on this map choice, it feels like Keen most likely just wants a longer, more back-and-forth game here to settle into his 2 and 3 base setup.
Oh yeah, he just wants to be free. He just wants to get into his game. He just wants to play some StarCraft.
He does. He does. Aye. Meanwhile, are you? How far in are you into the game, by the way, time-wise?
I'm actually. YouTube is telling me I'm lagging behind. I'm at 1 minute 6 seconds.
Okay, I'm at 130.
Okay, so I'll skip ahead. 133.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
But here we go. We are just settling in.
Yeah, that's just one thing we have to keep in mind when we're casting clean feed.
Yeah, we can be sometimes out of sync a little bit, and we'll do our best to stay on top of that. We'll do our best to try to sync up as best as we can. For now, it is going to be a Rex expand setup here from Keen, something more economic. Likewise, ShoWTimE also going for his own nexus as well. You can afford to be a little bit greedier here. You can afford to be a little bit more economic just because of the defensive setup on a Post Youth.
Yeah, absolutely. You can fully wall off.
True.
In some cases. Depends on your build. There's definitely some very interesting Muta builds that we've been seeing on Post Youth, which pretty much involve completely blocking off that ramp and just overwhelming your opponents with mutas. Something that we don't have to keep in mind in this matchup because they ain't no Zerg.
Mhm.
But we still have Stargates, we still have Starports. There's still a lot of potential here of just 2-base all-inning.
Oh yeah, there definitely is. We have our take of choice. It's going to be a Twilight Council open out of ShoWTimE. So we already see ShoWTimE mixing it up, by the way. This time it is not a Stargate into Phoenix. This time Twilight Council, I imagine, into Blink Stalkers. This does mean that ShoWTimE can be more assertive on the map here, depending on how many gateways we've thrown down. For now, it is only going to be 2 gates. We can go up to 3 or even 4 gateways if ShoWTimE wants to be more aggressive.
Yeah, he does have that option. Blink Stalkers, very versatile opening in PvT. One of my preferred ones, personally, just because it gives you so many options going into that mate game. You know, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into Colossus, like if you open up with Phoenixes or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. It is more of a flexible opener here for the Protoss, and we're getting into our Robo. It looks like it's only going to be a 2-gate opener during expansion. Nexus has been thrown down. Now this Reaper should be able to get eyes on this. It does confirm the more economic build, and now Key knows that he is safe at home to get into his own build as well.
Indeed he is. Which involves mine drops. I'm loving this. So it feels like for 2 or 3 weeks in the new patch, we saw basically 0 mine drops in TVP, but ever since the players like Maru and Bjorn have been getting pretty good, pretty good damage and pretty good map scouting with them, feels like a lot of the other Terran players are also realizing that you can still get stuff done with mine drops. You don't have to completely abandon them as an opening.
Yeah, I will say that mine drops are less popular than they used to be, but nowadays that they're not as rare, right? It's like we still see them pop up like once a series or something like that. So it's great to see that we're still embracing these Widow Mine drop openers. Speaking of Widow Mines, they do come in, but we do react in time, we do pull away, and oh, we do get an Adept though.
Yeah, nice blinking here from ShoWTimE, but unfortunately Adepts cannot blink. Their eyes must be so dry.
Their plants, I'm sure that there's just like constant moisture going on there on their faces. It's fine.
They photosynthesize.
Yeah. They're always wet.
Yeah.
Or always dry. As we do see our drop coming out here, gonna get eyes on the Observer, but oh, does it get away? It barely does.
Oh, unlucky here for Keen. I say unlucky, but a really good move here from ShoWTimE being active with his Stalkers as well to distract the army a little bit, and ideally as this game goes on, also just slow down the push. He does have confirmation now, just based on how large of a Bioforce Keen has, that he is going for a little bit of a 2-base timing with Stim.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no third CC. There's no third base here for our Terran players, so we're going to be committing quite hard with this. I believe ShoWTimE is somewhat aware of the aggression. I mean, he does get eyes, he does have the Observer just covering and chasing and following this army, so he's aware and he's getting ready.
Yeah. Well, when the Observer chases the army, sometimes the army chases back. That Observer went down, and now Keen is about to hit just before ShoWTimE is ready. A Colossus is about to be out, but it's still a Colossus without Thermal Lance. We still have plenty of Marauders. And honestly, not that much of a buffer here for this Colossus either.
Yeah, the Colossus looking a little bit exposed. We dive on top of it. We do get a lot of hits in, and the Colossus does go down. Big pick off there from Keen, but we're running out of steam as well. We're running out of Marines and Marauders.
Indeed we are. Whereas we still have a couple of Warpins. The mines from earlier, I think, did get cleaned out. We do have reinforcements coming though, and the biggest advantage that Keen has right now is the fact that he was able to kill that Colossus earlier. He's going for the Doom Drop right into the main / natural. It's a hybrid.
Yeah.
Coming right on top of this. Gonna be borrowing the mines, and once again, the Colossus doesn't quite have Thermal Lance and doesn't quite have a buffer.
It does not, but we do drag some of those mine shots. We force the pickup as well. We do defend the main base. Only 3 probes go down. So far, good defense from ShoWTimE. He does fend Keen off. But Keen, he's not stopping, he's not slowing down, he's reinforcing once again with another wave of reinforcements. Keen going for the kill, going for another Doom Drop.
Keeps going for these. And it's gonna work. ShoWTimE not in position with his main army. Does have a little force of Stalkers here, but nowhere near enough. Shield Battery gonna go down while it's overcharging. 2 Colossus out now. And once again, these Mind Drags have been phenomenal right now from ShoWTimE.
They have been, but it looks like once again ShoWTimE defends. This time he maintains his Colossus count, he maintains his worker count. We do see Keen was expanding behind this, the third base just now being morphed into an orbital, but I'm sure Keen was hoping for a little bit more damage here. He does fall back, still has an army to work with though, and can even threaten a counterattack if ShoWTimE does move out.
He can. I'll say that, yeah, Keen hasn't been able to take to get any economic damage as of yet, but as you pointed out, he's kept most of his army alive, he's kept a lot of his important units alive, and he's been able to put the hurt and reset the Colossus count once, so it's definitely got a much more effective fighting force going into the mid-game.
Yeah, speaking of, he shuts down a lot of these Zealots, he shuts down a lot of the Widow Mines as well. Sorry, the Sentries, I mean. We do force a cancel on the goal base. So good pick off there by Keen. At the same time, we do have our Liberator into the main, getting 4 probe kills, denying any kind of mining time. It's so important here that Keen gets this damage done because he's down in workers. We see ShoWTimE with 63 probes, and it was about to be up on bases, but thankfully at least Keen canceled the goal.
Yeah. Now ShoWTimE has to start all over again from square one when it comes to getting that gold base. But now he's got 3 Colossus, which is a terrifying prospect to go up against as a Terran player. Keen is getting into his mid-game. He's getting Ghosts, he's getting Vikings. I will see how long it takes for him to gear up and get ready for, what would this be, round 4?
Yeah.
5?
Yeah.
Another push is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, Keen, he's up in supply here thanks to the damage he was able to deal, and with his Viking and Ghost Remax, Keen, he has a pretty formidable army, especially before Disruptors come out, right? Even though we're making 1 Disruptor at a time, it's only 1 with the single robot producing. ShoWTimE doesn't really have the best economy to actually get into double robot production. Here we go, the army has arrived!
And it is looking to pounce. Keen definitely has to be careful about that choke point here, but he just goes up the ramp and goes for a little bit of a sneak from behind. Meanwhile, ShoWTimE, with a handful of Zealots, is trying to disrupt the economy of Keen. A couple of reinforcements will deal with that. Liberator is doing such a good job of zoning away the main army, but the Disruptor comes down, and that's going to do an even better job of zoning away the Terran army. But it gets popped. Good EMP.
Yeah, good EMP is here, but it looks like the Nexus is going to be going down. At the same time, the buffer for the Colossus is almost non-existent. We go for the dive, and do we get the Colossus? We barely get 1, and can we get the others? It looks like we don't quite get them. ShoWTimE, he barely falls back, but he lost the 4th.
Vikings. Yeah, he lost the 4th, and now Vikings are on the way to deal with that those very weakened Colossus from earlier. ShoWTimE really wants this gold. He does.
He does. He's so
gonna
quick.
have to try to do everything he can to avoid it.
Yeah, he's so quick to rebuild that Nexus. At the same time, Prism into the main base. Oh, we do get some Zealots into the mineral line. Quick reaction at the Keen. He looks like he does have an army back at him to defend. At the same time, he goes for the dive. He goes for the Colossus. The Novas.
And there's not enough anti-air. Novas will. One of them will pop. And that's definitely going to be enough here for ShoWTimE to chase this army all the way back.
Sometimes 1 Nova is all it takes. We do see Keen being forced all the way back, but he did defend against that Zealot run by earlier, the Zealot drop. But ShoWTimE finally gets his 4th base.
Yeah, just like so. Keen technically up in the army supply, but a lot of that army wasn't reinforced. So it's the Vikings. The Vikings will be able to deal with the War Prism. Should be able to get it, and that's with 4 Zealots inside of it. A painful loss here for ShoWTimE, but more importantly, frees up Keen to not have to worry so much about keeping reinforcements back home. He's starting to see things, though.
Exactly, as Keen, he does shut down the Prism. He does end up establishing a 4th base as well of his own, just as ShoWTimE is getting his own. And because of this momentum, because of the damage that was dealt, Keen still maintains that supply lead. These Zealot run-bys are being annoying, but we're in position for it. ShoWTimE is trying to take a 5th base. Keen has been resting on, or he's been kind of defending for a while, kind of building back up, but finally is moving out once again.
Yeah, he's unchained once again. How many Colossus does ShoWTimE have at this point? Oh, we're about to find out as these two armies will clash. Good splits against the Purification Novas. Not quite able to get the EMPs down. I got so worried for a second there, but it looks like Keen was able to pounce right on top of those Disruptors. And now we're starting to really overwhelm. Disruptors are gone, and we don't really have a backbone to this Protoss army. Keen is overwhelming.
He is. Another Nova will connect towards the end, but it looks like it's not going to be enough. This time, one Nova is not enough. Keen, he breaks through the main army. He gets on top of the 4th base and even pushing towards that 3rd as well. ShoWTimE, he's out of Disruptors. He's out of Colossus. Keen has done it. He has broken the gold once again.
Indeed, he has. I just realized he never researched drilling cluster out all of that, but GG is called. Keen, look at how happy he is. Look at how proud he is of himself to be able to get that 1-1. He was the heavy underdog in this matchup. And even though his team is already out, even though ShoWTimE has already won this for Big Basilisk, Keen will at least be able to redeem himself, will at least be able to show that, hey, never count out the commander.
That was a big win. That was a big win here for Keen. GG, well played. As you mentioned, Basilisk will win it in the end, but for Keen to take a game off of ShoWTimE, like, that's impressive. Like, that's something that I don't think many people believed in. I'm pretty sure the majority of those predictors did go choose. I think you were the only one that believed in the 1-1 for Keen, mate. But as you said, you cannot count him out.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed.
Oh no, Guru also predicted 1-1.
There you go. Big shout out to Keen for tying things up and for showing that, hey, he can go toe-to-toe with some of the best Protoss players in Europe, some of the best Protoss players in the world. Despite the fact that Keen is, a little bit rusty and he has been back for a while. Mate, I haven't seen Keen smile like that in a long time. I was so happy seeing him smile, so GG, well played.
Chad is pointing out Keen clap.
Yeah.
So if you bring that gif in.
The Keen
clap.
The Keen clap. Beautiful. GG, well played. We're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we will have our next series of the night. We'll have Mystery Gaming versus Berserker Esports.
Indeed, we shall. Stay tuned to that. Coming up soon.